Hey, what's up, team? So, you're about to listen to an episode between myself and Ray again. And today we're going to speak about the importance of a partner. And if you don't have a partner, then it'll be your friend. Now, this is all great, but there are some very interesting, not issues, but challenges that come up that probably need a bit of discussion because there's two different points of view that are very correct in their own context. And this is what me and Ray end up chatting about. Because it's very much around the theme of how much do we challenge versus how much do we care. And sometimes how do we balance care and challenge? And if you look around you, are the people around you actually caring by not challenging you? And are at the same time, are they challenging you too much where they don't care? How do you find that balance? And then you'll see what else comes off of that. So be interested to hear your thoughts on this. It's a very important one for me and for Ray. And for those of you listening, I think it's something that we haven't necessarily thought about before. We also are starting the challenge soon. So it will be the challenge starts on the 20th of March, 2025. So if you are listening to this in time, it's not too late to join. And we do not pre-recorded, but we record and display. You can get access to all the videos if you come on late. But it's not too late to come and make a massive transformation. Those 5 days are getting more and more popular in how we do things. We're getting better at what we do. And I can't wait to share it with everyone and more. Right. Enjoy the episode and enjoy the challenge if I see you on the inside. Cheers. Yeah, but I don't like to cut out the stuff because then people... Okay, ready?
I am ready.
I thought you were going to leave me hanging there.
I wasn't sure what you wanted for a second.
I mean, it was clearly high five. Okay, welcome back to the Identity Human podcast with your hosts,
Ray?
Don.
I was doing it just to rile you up.
Well, you did. It worked. No. So we're going to try and keep this one to half an hour this week. And I want to
Sharp,
talk,
short, and efficient.
as all meetings should be. Not that this is a meeting. That's a like. Yeah. I wanted to talk today about the importance of a positive influence, and obviously, in our case, the importance of having a partner that supports you on your journey, and how effective and empowering it can be, as well as the duality of how disempowering it can be when someone doesn't buy into your journey. Thoughts, go.
There's lots of thoughts.
Where do you want to start?
Angles here. I mean, you hear, so you could go down the real negative route, like this is like worst case scenario. You hear of stories of people where one goes on a big transformation journey where they want to improve themselves and the other partner doesn't come along and you end up becoming two different people. And I mean, if you think about it, as you move through different phases or decades in your life, if you say like we're mid-30s now, the people who we were as 20-year-olds at Fresh at University, we were almost like in a lot of ways quite different people to who we are today. And even you can even see it in those around you. Like, have you ever caught up with a friend? Like, I recently caught up with some friends from uni that I knew early 20s, and now we're mid 30s. And the essence of the person is there, but there's a lot of opinions or thoughts on the world that have completely evolved. So if you evolve as a person, I think it's so important that whoever is that key part in your life is on that same journey as you, not only so that you don't grow apart, but so that you can also obviously bolster each other up and encourage each other on the journey, which I suppose is the angle you're more heading towards.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the angle is the wider environment. Is I don't think that people pay enough attention to who is around who is around them, who is around you when you're actually in a spot of bother or when you're trying to achieve something, because no one really, like, you probably hear a sentence or two or a story here or there about how important this person was. But if it was that obvious, then surely the first place we would look is like, okay, who's going to empower me? But it's not. The first place we look is like, how am I going to empower myself? Which is great. But we want to think about,
because you can't be relying on other people on this journey.
Yeah, you can't rely on other people, but you have to understand the importance of other people. And your whole, you mentioned essence, and then you said how friends change their opinions. Those opinions are formed from what they gather from the people around them, from the world that they live in. So actually what you want to do is unify as much as you can that person you're going to spend the most time with, or have someone you're going to go to that is going to give you what you need because they know what's best for you. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think our thoughts create our reality. And I think if your current reality isn't where it wants to be, then one of the places you do have to look is who surrounds you and what surrounds you. So, like, I'm chatting to a couple of people that I coach, and it was an awful call this morning. And then she said specifically, it's very tough at the moment because I'm now setting boundaries for family. And that's the hardest thing ever. And she's like, just wait in the next couple of weeks and they realize that those boundaries are being set, how much they're going to try and walk all over me. And I said, yeah, well done.
And if you have the support of your partner in that, it's going to help you to hold strong.
Yeah.
When you come to doubt yourself.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think going back to, like, that's what I first wanted to talk about. It was like supportive partner, because I think sometimes even in our journey, there's been times where like one of us is like really like taken on a point and flown, and the other one isn't quite there. And sometimes there's that performance gap between the two, and the way the communication comes up can come across. It's just like, sometimes if I'm like excited about something and I go, oh, have you tried this? Have you tried this? You can immediately go back into like, oh, am I not good enough for you? Or not for you, but am I not good enough because what I'm doing is...
Yeah, so you're basically saying another point is that if your partner isn't with you on the journey, then they might take saying that you're excited about it and then you're seeing like positive development as you looking down on them saying that they're not good enough.
Yeah.
So far I feel like we focus a lot on like the negatives of your partner, not having that coming
it's because I was reading a point just now about like what is toxic positivity. Is you can't just pretend that the negative things aren't there. So it's about acknowledging them, which we've done, but not focusing on them.
Yeah.
So the positives are, it's like at the time, I suppose, if you're listening to this podcast and you've listened to it a couple of times, then what you will know is the hardest thing for you to do is constantly believe in yourself. And it's because you're the only one that knows all of the mistakes that you make.
Yeah.
Some people know some of the mistakes you make, and some people judge or don't judge those mistakes, but you are the only person, if you have a higher standard, that knows when you wake up, did you wake up when you wanted to, or you like, and how are you feeling when you woke up? Like, were you like, oh, I don't really want to do this? So immediately you're like, I should be excited, but I'm not. And then I got out, but 5 minutes later or half an hour later, you're the only one that tracks that every single day of your life. You're the only person that knows every single mistake that you've made. And if you've got a high standard, you know that. What about that person that's around you that they've got to believe in you to help you when you're in the moments of down? But the other side to that is they've also got to believe in you when you've stopped on your trail. Because I think that's the duality, is like you want someone that can pick you up when you're down, or not like when you're beating yourself up, they go, no, you're doing a really good job. Notice this. But you also want that same person to be able to say, I need to pick you up because you are dropping through your own standards that you forgot about, that you spoke about back then.
And I think there's a big difference between, let's say, if you were to come on our 5-day challenge, which if you're listening to this, it's starting on the Friday, 21st of March, although our first training will be Thursday, the 20th. So if you haven't signed up already, highly recommend it.
www.identityhuman.com.
Which is not written on your shirt. I don't know why you looked at
microphone.
No, but my point being is that if you take like a transformation that you're going through, so it could be on like the 5-day challenge, signing up to Unshakable, or reading a transformation book, or making the decision to put boundaries in your life, or whatever you've read, listened to, joined that has inspired you to make a change in your life. So you go on this journey and you're on this change. There's a big difference between having a supportive partner who's going to be your cheerleader on the sidelines and support you, versus someone who's like, right, I'm up for the same challenge. Let's do this challenge together. Let's go on this journey together and actually do the transformation side by side. Because I feel like the cheerleader is amazing, and it's already going to be so much better than not having them on your side. But if you can get where both of you are going on a journey, maybe not an identical journey, but you both know that you actively are pursuing internal growth, you actively pursuing personal development. If you are both on that journey, I think there's saying a slight different angle that versus what a cheerleader will bring. Someone who's on the journey, and if they fully committed to it, like you, when one of you wanes, the other one just, they know they're experiencing it with you.
Yeah.
They know what needs to be done, and so when they say, when they hold you accountable to another level, a cheerleader doesn't hold you accountable.
Yeah.
A cheerleader cheers and says keep going and is there to support you.
And if you stop, they're like, it's okay, you're fine.
Whereas someone who's doing the journey side by side with you, they're big saying different. It's like the more that accountability, more of that, like, why do we run our challenges as a community? It's having other people going on that same journey with you. And so I think, like, if you can get your partner, and if your partner is really not interested, like a best friend or someone to do your transformation with you, you're going to have a massively more impactful journey. And you're going to, it's just, they're going to support you on the highs and understand you on the lows and not let you slip off.
Yeah, and I'll probably say the challenging part to that, and why I wanted to talk about this today, is it's preparing yourself that if you've asked someone to go on that journey with you, it's great when it's great. Do you know what I mean? You're smiling now.
I'm thinking of someone that you've asked me.
We don't talk about, it's great when it's great.
What don't we talk about? I thought we were here for all openness and honesty.
No, it's not personal things. I don't mind talking about personal things. We don't talk about it when it's to the effect of someone else.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
But you can remove names.
Okay.
Don's like, no, you're making me uncomfortable.
It's too soon. No, but it's great when it's great. But what about those moments when it's not great for one of the individuals? When I say not great, like they're really struggling to hold themselves accountable. They're really struggling to keep the momentum up. And if you're in that moment, have someone else that you've asked to be accountable and they are on that journey with you and they're not in that slump that you're in, and they go, I'm going to remind you of this and do this. How's that going to make you feel? Because A, you've got two scenarios. They're either going to go like, I really appreciate you holding my standard. Thank you so much. Or B, they're going to make you feel so challenged. And this is where ego comes in, that you actually think that they don't know what they're talking about and you start to like resent them. I think you've got to be careful about part B, because it's not the other person that's changed in their approach. It's how you've seen their challenge. Because when you get into a low, sometimes you just want people to feel sorry for you. And when they don't feel sorry for you, you get offended. But actually, what you don't want is someone that feels sorry for you when you need to be challenged most. Because even though it's uncomfortable, that's the whole point, is your chimp or whatever, your comfort zone, your ego, your survival instinct, at that moment has got its biggest point of resistance. And if you're given at that moment, it almost reinforces how big a survival mode it can go into. Whereas if you don't give in, you just go one step further, it then goes, you ruled the roost today. You actually own this. You're going to keep going. Okay, fine. I will try again later.
Yeah.
You hope you're going to say something.
Now, I was going to say on that point, where yes, there is an element of responsibility on the person. If you that person and you're feeling down, like you're no longer motivated for the transformation, to not take any encouragements to carry on as like a personal attack. But I also think we've learned a lot in our journey of both trying to self-develop, that there's a degree of both of you, like if there's two partners, whether it's husband and wife or friends doing a journey together, business partners, whatever it may be, there's there's a great, what do I want to say? Don't underestimate the impact that you can have on the other person by just continuing to do what you do. And don't feel like you have to actively drag them along, actively feed back to them the whole time. I think you can have a great impact on someone just by holding true to what you know. And if that person falls off, they will see that and they will be motivated. And if you take, and it could be, if you could be doing something crazy. So like when Don first started ice baths and cold showers every day. We're not talking weeks here, guys, or months. We're talking like a year or 2 years. Like Don did cold showers every day for more than a year, okay? And in the first sort of 6 to 12 months, I used to be like, you are bonkers. You are crazy. Like, and I was doing my own self-development, but this was just not something I was interested in. And what do you know, like, I haven't even been tracking anymore, but like a year or so later, I joined you, and I'm now like a year and a half into it.
Sucker.
And the point being is that you didn't say to me constantly, come on, cold shower, come on, cold shower. You didn't. You just did it. And then I was like, you know what? I might try that. I like what I'm seeing.
Why did you start trying if I wasn't even trying to get you to do them?
Because I was inspired.
Although the one thing
inspired me let's face it, throughout our lives, we all try eating a certain way. Whether some people diet, I always want to like try to eat less, but I've always more focused on what I put into my mouth. So like I've tried like keto, banting, you try these different things. We all try exercise routines. We all try limiting our social media use. We have all these things that we try in our lives, but very rarely, especially in our adult lives, do you see people around you who are consistent for years and years. You may see someone consistent for a few months and they fall off. So I think for me, it was what really got me in the culture was this incredible level of consistency that you achieved, that you did something every day, no matter what. And I think that was what inspired me on that point. But the key point that I wanted to make here on this whole, like, the importance of having a partner who's positive and going to support you, is that it can be in the unspoken things. It can be just, it's doing what you do, and like showing people what you do and not always saying it.
Yeah.
Not always having to challenge your partner, not always having to call up, just doing what you do, and that will inspire them when they see the change you go on. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
and I
makes
think
sense.
that's a big one. Yes, there's, from your point of view, when you fall off the bandwagon and they do have some suggestions, you could maybe work on not taking it personally. But I think there's also a degree of, if both of you just carry on your roads the best you can, you will inspire each other.
And I suppose that's if it's closer to home. Like if that 100% true. And I was thinking in my head, and I'll do this for the camera there, is if you've got that timeline, not a timeline, like a dualities timeline. There's one end of the spectrum and then the other end of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got like a pendulum swing.
Mm-hmm.
And right in the middle is where we want to aim for. That's where it's like the sweet spot's always in the middle. Nature always finds a balance. And there's a balance between always just cracking on and like if I just keep taking action, you'll eventually get inspired, versus making sure that I hold you to a standard at the same time. Because otherwise, if you are falling off and you just go, like imagine you stop cold showering and I was just like, oh, if I carry on, I'll eventually get back on. And just something you're just like, I'm not going to get back into, is just too hard.
There's a balance between
that's where I think the balance is. But I think you're 100% right. The more if you live with someone, that's a lot easier to do when you're actioning. Versus if you don't, like if you're watching this and you've got a friend that you're holding accountable, they don't see that action. So they don't actually know if it's going on. And
it's even, I don't even think it's they're saying in the human psychology, because we're like pack animals, seeing people do things motivates.
It is the highest form of learning.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Mirror neurons and imitation. Like monkeys will learn through imitation, and we are just clever monkeys. I know it's hard to admit, but we are. You can fight that all you want, but we are. And then I think the other point I want to pick, well, there were a couple, but I had to try and listen to you, which meant that some of the questions faded. But you said the word positive. They have to try and keep positive. And I think sometimes we have, like, I really want to define positive. Like, what do you think is positive? Because I think there's a lot of cases, it's called radical candor. Like you get care and challenge, and then just challenge. And then you get the other one, which is like no challenge, no care.
For me.
And positive, sometimes I think people put positive as caring.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So carry on defining.
So I was going to answer it in a different way. As you defined that, I realized when you say someone is positive, I don't think they have to be positive all the time. Like not happy-go-lucky.
As an accountable person, sorry, that positivity in that context.
About care, but are you talking about like?
So you said earlier, that person you've got accountable, they have to make sure that they are a positive person in how they interact with you, or that they're positive in the interactions, or they're positive in the way they keep you accountable. What did you mean by that?
I more meant that they are, I'm trying to think of what I said to go back there, but like positive in terms of, for me, when I say they,
so you were talking about action. So it's like sometimes you just have to keep taking action and realize that when you're holding someone else accountable, it's just, you just got to keep going and be positive in the way you do it. And for me, I was like, oh, I really wanted to hone in on that word, like a positive influence, because a positive influence can sometimes be someone that just seems to care about you, but they never challenge you.
Yes.
And actually a positive influence, someone that just cares about you, that never challenges you, isn't a positive influence. They may be positive in the way they present themselves, but they're having a deeper negative effect on you because they're not challenging you.
So is your question, what level of challenge is? Yeah,
so like, how would you define positive now that I've framed it that way? Mm-hmm. And how would you see it? Because I think sometimes we just go, the conversation that I've heard people have is like, I just need you to listen to me sometimes. And yes, we all just listen and listen and listen. But eventually, if we just listen and reinforce that it's okay, you're doing fine, you're doing okay, it's fine, and you don't challenge you could be, have you thought about it this way? There's no challenge comes. That doesn't leave you in any better space. And I think sometimes we fall into that trap where it's like, I'm trying so hard, I just want you to listen. And we are trying hard, but no one reminds us that you don't have to try that hard to go
You
up.
couldn't resist bringing in the nail on the head analogy.
I wasn't going to bring it in. You just
You
brought it
have
in.
essentially just described it without saying
Hey, look
it.
at that. Look at that. Hold on. I didn't say it at all. And you realized the nail on the head thing there. I wasn't going to bring it up because I don't think it specifically relates to that video only.
We'll have to talk about it in a future episode, the nail.
Because I can also bring it to, like, I've had chats with mom, and the way that, like, she lived with us for 9 years, and I took a very similar approach.
Where you just gave care but no challenge.
Yeah, just care, because it was like, this is what my friends do, this is how I am, and I'm not as strong as you think I am, and all the kind of things that we all say to ourselves, like, I'm not as strong as you think I am. And suddenly someone comes in, and I'd probably say for you, it would have been like the James Ashford analogies, and the mindset that he's got is like, he would challenge some of the thoughts you've got, and you've done that for me. When I come home and we spoke about biases and you can't have a business and family kind of thing, and all that, is actually, it's like, you could have been like, oh, you're right, it's fine, you're doing so well. But you're like, well, says who? You can do better. And suddenly it was like, okay, I've tried all of that and I was trying so hard, but because you made me question that level of thinking, I've gone into that next one. And you're like, geez, I can't believe I thought that way. But I never would have got there if you didn't give me a bit of like a,
I mean, clearly from these examples, there's a need for challenge. I think it's just in a couple or in any people doing something together, whether it's like married couples or friends, whatever. When it comes to that challenge piece, it has to be delivered in the right way. And I feel like that comes really down to understanding the person and understanding their motivators and how you can challenge them.
I have an analytical way of breaking it down. Maybe it might help you.
Yeah, so that's my. I think challenge has to exist, but it's in very specific ways. I think you can't deliver challenge in the way you like to deliver. It has to be challenge in the way that suits them.
Yeah, maybe.
You don't know if you agree.
So if you have that 4 axis, so I'm just there for you. So you've got care, challenge, and care, and then just challenge. And we're not going to worry about the bottom one. So for the camera, it's going to be
the
care,
4 quadrants.
Challenge, and care, and then just challenge.
Yeah.
If you had 10 times that you were challenging someone and you went to try and just go, you'd have to contribute a 50-50 split between challenge and care. But the more times you challenge them, it started to like dip into that challenge quadrant only.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you have to have, sometimes you have to care, sometimes you have to challenge, and that makes the combination.
Yeah.
Where sometimes people only care, or sometimes they would do 1 care, 9 challenges. Is that what you with me?
Yes, yeah.
Or so there's actually only 2 quadrants, and then the balance of those 2 makes that 3rd quadrant, which we're like challenge and care.
Yes.
So you'd want to go care, challenge, care, challenge, rather than going challenge, care. Oh, look, I care about you. That's why I'm challenging you. Because where that pendulum swings, it's weighted by the amount of time. So your example was, you have to know the person. So you can't just challenge according to how you see things, because you're in a better space. And you're constantly challenging me. It's only because I care. It's only because I want the best for you. Actually, sometimes people just want a moment to breathe. And you go, and that's the care bit. So it's like how often you keep that balance, and you have to really know where that person's at.
Yeah, 100%.
Does that make sense? Is that quite a good, like...
It's a good way of thinking about it, like a scale of balancing the two. And I think...
I might write that down sometime.
I do think it's... like in a couple, like for a practical tip here, you could have like a code word or a phrase that you use where you could say, actually you used it for a while, and now like you would say, do you want me to just listen, or do you want me to, what was the other option?
Or can I give my opinion?
Give my opinion, something like that. Yeah. So if I came from a stressful day or something, and I started talking, then we're like, okay, is this one of those sessions where you just want me to listen, or can I give an opinion?
Yeah.
And I think that can be really impactful, because that's then the person who needs to receive that message can kind of say, I just need you to listen today. But it's also then being hyper aware. And this is where I suppose the partner could challenge. They could say, if I then responded, no, I need you to just listen, you could say, but hold on, the last 5 times you just told me to listen. Yes. When is an opportunity for me to challenge? And I think it's important to have that conversation around, listen, I think there is a challenge here that I have a different viewpoint on this that I would like to bring to the table. Are you ready to hear it?
I've been getting that wrong, haven't I? Because I don't ask that normally. Well, I have.
You did for a while, but then
I stopped because I'm like, raised back on it.
But then sometimes I would push back and say, I just really need you to listen, and you'd be like, oh, and I'm like, I just need you to listen today.
I have been listening. I just haven't been asking the question, and that's it. So it's like bringing to awareness that, like, in my head, I had listened to you other 7 times and then not said anything, but you hadn't realized I just listened.
So yeah, by asking that question, it comes at a point of awareness to say to that, it's almost like instead of you counting in your head, but almost you could count, okay, I've listened the last 7 times. And I remember you saying that to me, I've listened so much lately, but you almost hadn't pre-faced our discussions to say, oh, great, I want to hear what you have to say, but is this a listening or an opinion?
Have we just like...
a listening or an opinion chat? And basically, then it gives us, it helps me too as the person who's letting off steam to recognize, SHIT, I keep asking for the listening chats. Maybe I do need to hear an opinion.
So what we've just done in live on camera, this would be great for a voiceover, is there was Ray's perspective and there was my perspective. And what we've just joined is unagi them. We've simunyed them. We are one. Okay? We've come together because it's a perfect example of what I say is like, you are right, but so am I. And you are wrong, but so am I. Yeah. So how are we most correct? And that was then the thing of like, I'd been saying to you, I've been listening, and this was a challenge, whereas you were just like, you just challenged without listening. And so what we hadn't done is gone in between that. It's like, do you want me to listen? Do you want me to challenge?
I think it's a powerful statement to have when whether it's going through a tough time at work or whether
your resources, responsibilities start to get out of whack, so you just don't have the time
whether you're not getting enough sleep, whether your baby or your child's wake up in the night and you just want to moan to your partner, or whether you want
you're not
ideas,
getting that external validation that you
or
seek.
Your exercise or your diet, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Do you want just like a bit of care, or do you want a bit of challenge? And almost like pre-facing those conversations with like, okay, is this like a challenge conversation? And you could even interrupt a conversation halfway through if you've forgotten and just say, just out of interest, I haven't and the challenge, are you ready to hear it?
Yeah.
Because if it's a valuable enough challenge, you're not going to forget it. Yeah. Like, don't think that by not having that opportunity to bring that forward, that it's gone. If you forget it, then it wasn't a valuable enough challenge.
I think it was Martin Barnes that did the speaking one. He commented on one of our videos about never give advice to someone that hasn't asked for it. Or it was something like, don't try and sing to someone that's not at your concert.
Okay.
And that's the kind of thing is like, you're not asking permission to give feedback, but you are. What you're actually doing is you're opening someone up to them going, I want feedback. Because what would happen if I challenge you without asking you, is it okay to challenge? You haven't decided whether you want it or not. But if I say, are you open to some feedback? Immediately you've said yes, so therefore you have to take it, and it gets rid of the defenses.
And I think the big thing about asking that question is you're creating that natural marker for them to recognize how often they maybe are rejecting the challenge.
And then the last thing I'd say before we end off is, should we do that to our children? Because I think sometimes as parents...
I think so, yes. I think it's an amazing tool to say to them, like, if they're having stresses about their friends at school, do they just want you to listen? Or do they want ideas how to fix it? Because I think if you always going in there with the big, I'm going to fix it sort of mindset, they, A, are never going to get the opportunity to fix it for themselves. And B, they're going to think that there's something wrong with them because you're constantly trying to fix everything in their life.
And if you think about from like a human performance and psychology point of view, if you're reprimanding your kids, it's not about asking permission to reprimand your kid. It's about putting them into a mental state that they're able to take your feedback on board. Because I think far too often, like I'll do it, and I've seen parents do it, is like how you try and there's no point in reprimanding someone in their high beta state, in their moment, in the moment, because what they don't absorb is the lesson. What they do absorb is the emotions. They take on the criticism without the learn. And by saying, are you open to a challenge, or do you just need care? If you come up with your own language with the kid, it means that, look, I'm acknowledging you've done something that's naughty. If you're not in the space now, I'm not going to give you the lesson. But I do think it's important to chat to another time, which allows the kid to recognize, hey, you've done something bad. I realize that you may not be in the emotional state to take this on. So I've acknowledged it. We're not going to talk about it. At a time that you are ready, then let's talk about it. And I think that's going to stop that pattern of repeating so often.
And I can see that being really impactful for our older 2 kids. So we have children aged between 2 and 10. And I'm sure this method could be adapted for toddlers. But if I really think of the age 8 and plus, well, everything's out there. But if I think of the age 8 and plus, our 8 and 10-year-old, they would be really open to this sort of conversation. And it's amazing how it just building in, like having one sentence that you use as a structure in certain situations can really alter like your brain state to make people so much more open to taking a message on board. So like the one that I think of recently is whenever the kid shouted, and we started this like 2 months ago, or said like spoke disrespectfully, instead of going back like, why are you talking disrespectfully to me? You shouldn't talk disrespectfully to me. That's giving feedback, isn't it? That's like actually trying to correct them and teach them or coach them or give them an intervention. And actually, if you just go into it with like that conversation with inquisitiveness and say, like, look around you, who are you talking to? Like,
You act that very
not
well.
irritated, but who are you talking to?
Yeah.
And they go, who am I? Your mom, and how should you talk to your mom? And like, it allows them, gives people that opportunity to come to that conclusion.
We need to get back to that too.
So that's an example of one, but I'm saying, so I feel like this whole, now as our kids have got older, 8 to 10-year-old, they come with these conversations of something they're struggling with, or you can see them struggling with something because they're growing up. And I suppose we mustn't always go in with that fix-it challenge.
No, you must never go in with the fix-it
You should
challenge.
go in with the care, and it's like a great way to say, listen, when I come and chat to you, I sometimes might have ideas on how to help you, or ideas on how to see it from a different perspective. Would you like me to give you those ideas, or do you just want me to listen? And I think that would be really powerful.
That was really powerful. Okay, that brings us to the end. I think it was really perhaps a conversation for another time. I think it was really useful. It's like, what are the tips and tricks you can have for your kids, for people, and you start to realize that they're all the same thing, just done in a slightly different way. Yeah. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. And remember, I'll work on me for you if you work on you for me. Ubuntu, we are who we are to others. Have a great day.